anti-submarine aircraft. We're tracking Russian submarines.
Oh wow.
Now, this is before the days of nuclear submarines, so diesel electric submarines like German U-boats during the Second World War. You see.
Wow.
And I did that for 6 years on this before the Russians started getting nuclear submarines.
Oh wow.
And we changed to a Nimrod. Have you heard of the Nimrod aircraft?
I heard of it, yeah.
Well, it's
that one that, it looks like a comet, but it's not a comet. It's got wings.
it was a comet.
Oh, it's a comet.
With a bomb bay underneath it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was designed from the comet.
I wonder if there's any new scenes with Nimrod since then.
Sorry, what?
I wonder if there's any new scenes near here that have got Nimrod in there. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I probably got your sons there.
Yeah. It's a long time ago, remember? It's getting the old brain to work.
No,
Anyway,
you're not that old, though.
This one, well, I am. But this one, 1949. Okay. And then it was a tail-wheeled aircraft. Then the Mark II came along in 1953, and then this one with the nose wheel.
Oh wow.
That came along in 1957.
Oh,
so it's 67 years old.
Wow.
The engines still work, with a lot of work on them, of course. You know. And anyway, we'd go up to where the Russian naval base is in the North Atlantic, right up the top end of Norway.
Oh wow.
We'd fly up there, and this slow old aircraft, we only fly about 145 miles an hour. So
wow.
it'd take us 3 hours from Scotland to get up the top to a search area, and then we drop down to 500 feet and we spend 8 to 10 hours searching for Russian warships and submarines. And they don't shoot at us because we're not at war with Russia. They wave to us and take photographs of us, and we wave to them and take photographs of them. Our photographs go to the Navy, who are looking for new radars, new missiles, new guns, anything new, you know. And the same with submarines. They're like German U-boats during the Second World War. They travel on the surface at 15 miles an hour, underwater 5 miles an hour. So if they've got to go 100 miles to sink something, they're not going to do it at 5 miles an hour. They'll be on the surface. That's how we catch them. A day like today, now see that thing up there? That picks up other people's radars.
Oh wow.
And submarines have something like that. So if we use our radar, the scanner, it's just around here. There's the radar scanner.
Oh wow.
It's there. If we use that, the submarines can pick up, and ships can pick up our radar.
Oh wow.
And the submarine will go underwater and we've lost it. Okay. So we don't use our radar, we rely on these. And we tuck ourselves into these clouds, just into the bottom of the clouds.
Oh wow.
So it's difficult to see us, but we can see down. Okay, and see submarines on the surface. I've got a photograph inside. You see, you know what I mean by wake? The white waves around of course, but you imagine the propeller at the back leaving a big trail behind it, just like a ship. Well, they leave also white waves all around the side, and you can see that from maybe 10 miles away when you're up. Well, maybe a bit higher than this. It's a bit low, but anyway, that's the sort of job that we did. Well, the important thing here is we didn't have steps like this. We had a ladder, which is inside, to get up there, which is quite high. And I was based in Scotland, so in the winter time it could be snowing, blowing a gale. I got a big heavy bag, my helmet, my life jacket. Climbing up a ladder was not much fun.
Wow, that's good. Wow, Shackleton. Take a Shackleton.
So here's our ladder. Alright, two sections joined together. See these big hooks here? They hook over the doorway there, and that's what we climbed up. We took it with us so that when we get somewhere we can get out. Okay. And anyway, so 10-man crew. You can imagine no women on board this aircraft. And here's the gents' toilet. So if you want to pee, a hole in the wall basically. Right? Do you know what an Elson is? Back in the 1950s, 60s, caravans had what we call an Elson. Basically, it's a bucket for a toilet, and Dad in the morning would go and empty it out. You know, well, that's what we've got here. See, there. Okay, got proper toilet seat, but somebody's got to empty it at the end of the flight.
Oh dear.
And we're flying for up to 15 and a half hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a training trip would be 8 hours, an operational trip 15 and a half hours, and we're looking for, depends what we do. I mean, we do search and rescue as well, okay?
Oh yeah.
But when we're not doing search and rescue, we're looking for Russian warships,
Oh yeah.
like this one. Any Russian warship, we take photographs of them.
Yeah.
We got really close in because the Navy want to be able to see things close up, you know,
Oh wow.
or anything new. And but these days we have our maritime aircraft in the Black Sea,
Oh yeah.
where Ukraine, you know.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure the Russians aren't interfering with the grain ships.
Oh, yeah.
Africa.
Did they ever
Totally
try?
depending on.
Did they ever try to shoot you? Not really.
No.
Oh, that's good then.
I've seen, as you fly past, sometimes you see the guns going like this, following you.
Oh.
But they got all these young Russian lads. Every day, all they see is sea, nothing but sea.
Yeah.
They're bored to tears. So the captain, when one of us come along, could be American, Dutch, British, Norwegian aircraft, maritime aircraft. And the captain might say, "Man the guns for practice." They're not actually shooting at us, but they're going bang, 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 bang. Oh, I've got him all right. Because we're only slow, so yeah, they're easy to shoot us down. Anyway, we find them and take photographs of them out of this window here. And here's a diesel electric submarine, you see, just like a German U-boat. And notice the wake here. They travel on the surface. Okay, and if they're going somewhere like the Mediterranean, they don't care about us. They don't go underwater and all the rest of it. They just wave to us and take photographs to us. So with our camera, we get our big camera out, which is in a big box down here. Here it is. It's a really hefty size of camera.
Wow.
So it's got a handle on the side like that. Another handle is about that sort of size, so it's like that, really heavy.
Oh wow. Well, no dinky ones like these.
No, I'm afraid not. It's a film cassette, it's not digital.
Oh wow.
A film cassette here, so it takes about 120 odd shots, but the most important thing is 5-inch square film. That's your image size. Takes fantastic quality photographs. And when we land, the photographers come on board, take this, develop it, and do a contact print 5 inches square, and that goes through us in intelligence for a debrief. And we say, well, we saw this, we saw that looks a bit strange, you know, and new that, or what they were doing, whether the guns followed us. And I remember on one occasion, I was looking out the window, and out of the smokestack, wherever it is, somewhere around here, a big circle, like somebody puffing a circle of smoke with a cigarette, and it came out the engines.
Wow.
And the Navy were really interested in that. They sent somebody back to talk to me about it, because I was the only one who saw it as it actually happened, because the smoke ring just sort of disappeared up into the clouds, you see. But I saw it all the time, and they said that's an indication of poor engine management. Blowing circles with your smoke is not the way it should work. You've done something wrong and made the engines go cough, you know. Out comes this. Anyway, so we take photographs with this thing here. So when we found something, we want to take a photograph here. The guy sitting here, the lookout, he's normally here, looking out here. And he can look down to about that angle there, but for ships and submarines he's looking out there. But we don't take photographs through plastic, so ta-da, ta-da, and the funny thing is, obviously this door's open at the moment, but when we're in flight, that door's closed, okay, and as the air goes past it actually sucks the air out.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and the funny thing is also, apart from photography, in the hot regions of the world, and I've been in some seriously hot regions, 30, 40 degrees Celsius at 500 feet, it's seriously hot. But we're only flying, well, when we're in transit to our search area, 45 miles an hour. When we get in our search area for 8 to 10 hours, we pull the engines back to save fuel, and we're chugging along about 120 miles an hour. So we're not going very fast, and so we open these up, these two here, and the pilots open the little windows up front just to get some air coming through here. It's really hot. And you have to keep drinking water.
They don't pressurise the air conditioning, do they?
No, we're only going 1,000 feet. We can go up to 20,000 feet, but we would only go up, maybe if we're crossing America, going over the Rockies, we might be up at 12,000 feet. So we have oxygen. But that's an oxygen pipe there, you see. But we rarely use oxygen because most of the time we're at 1,000 feet or 500 feet. Okay, because we want to be able to see the sea.
That's true.
And ships and and submarines going along, and sometimes commercial ships too, because our government sometimes wants to know, where's that ship going? What's it got on board? You know, what's its name? All this sort of thing. So we actually go and track Russian commercial ships, cargo ships, in other words. But the government wants to know where they're ending up and what have they got on board. You know? Anyway, so the pilots would bring the ship or submarine. We're at 500 feet. Pilots would bring a ship or submarine a couple of 100 yards away here, and click, 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 click. Oh, there's a very nice J down there. Look at that.
Oh, there's a J
down there. A very colourful one just down there. Looks like a young one actually.
Oh yeah. Oh,
It's gone.
Gone now.
He heard your click.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he disappeared, I think.
Okay. Now the other thing about this aircraft, which we don't have, is a pair of 20mm cannon in the nose. So here are the pilots. Now we have depth charges in the bomb bay. Now I'm a navigator, all right? I'm Nev the Nav. But navigators from 1951, the first squadrons from 1951. Navigators, well, we navigate with old Second World War equipment on this aircraft. Not easy to use, but I also control all the weapons, so depth charges for attacking submarines on the surface, like that one. Torpedoes for submarines underwater. I control all those, all right? But in the daytime, if the pilots see a submarine on the surface, they can do depth charge attacks. I set the weapons up, they can press the button. Okay? But night attacks are done by navigators like me. It's just here, we have a whole load of flares in there, and 24 barrels that stick out the side of the fuselage just outside. If you just hang on there a minute.
Wow, it's so cool, isn't it?
The forward navigator so it's pitch dark out there. All right. We've got a radar contact that he thinks is a submarine, so the radar operator is guiding the pilots towards it. At night time, the forward navigator, now there are two navigators, I'm a senior one, and I've got a second navigator who's done a 6-month course. He's going to wait 4 or 5 years to become a first navigator. But anyway, we swap seats every 3 hours or so, all right? So whoever's in the forward seat goes down in the nose, and there's a really accurate bomb sight down here, low-level bomb sight, and at 1 mile to when the radar operator calls out 1 mile to the contact, the bomb aimer calls out flares, flares. The guy down the back presses the start button, and these fire off one at a time every 1.5 seconds. So here's the aircraft, and boomf, boomf, boomf. Well, they actually fire out like that. But of course they go down like that, okay? And it lights up the sea. The bomb aim is looking at, and you see the wake. All that white stuff there shows up really brilliantly white. And you see that, and then you see the submarine, then you guide the aircraft on, and drop. So pilots do daytime depth charge attacks, navigators do night times.
Oh, wow.
Submarines underwater, I drop sonobuoys, and then we've got 4 sergeants and an officer in charge of them, and he does all the jobs same as they do. Lookout, cooking in the galley, radar, sonics as we call it, tracking the submarines underwater, radio operator, and right up in the nose lookout and the gunner. Now these are the 20mm cannons. They're not for shooting at aircraft because they don't go any higher than that. They're for shooting at submarines as you run in for a depth charge attack.
Oh, wow.
They'll be going blam, day or night, so when the flares go off, sees the target, blam, 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 trying to make holes in it, you know.
Oh, wow.
And they also get 6 depth charges as well. Okay, so it's not their day. Anyway, they were removed when it was scrapped, okay.
Oh.
So the guns go right the way down like that. Okay.
It's a shame they scrapped that one, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, let's move on forward then. So here's where the flares were.
It's a lovely plane.
On the 24 barrels, the 4 6-barrel flare discharges. So you stuff them in those holes there and then close it up, okay? And this is the galley or kitchen, if you like. Now these two are meant to be beds, and I've never seen it up here. For some reason somebody's put it up. It was always, in my time, it was like this, as a bed. But we never used it as a bed. This is where we stored all our food.
Oh, wow.
We've got a 10-man crew, plus a couple of passengers probably, so 12 hungry men, and we're flying for up to 15 and a half hours.
Oh, wow.
So here, that's a lot of food. Boxes and boxes and boxes of tin food here. Up here, a whole load of eggs, bottles of milk, loaves of bread, packs of sausages, packs of bacon.
Yummy.
You know, man's food basically. Here, our main meal is this beef stew. So we've got a saucepan on here. Now, this is what it's like in the Shackleton. In the winter time, because we're at 500 feet most of the time, underneath the storm clouds, okay,
Oh, wow.
down drafts and up drafts and all this sort of stuff.
Oh, wow.
So it gets very rough in the winter time.
Honker stew.
And so all the saucepan and frying pan that we have, the base of them go down there, stop it bouncing on the floor. I mean, it does get really rough.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, we put a saucepan on there, switch the electricity on, and get tins of beef, potatoes, carrots, peas. There's something you might think a bit strange. That's my wife just...
Honker stew. You can try and cook that.
One Mars bar chucked up. Oh, that's not my wife.
Oh, there's a guy there. So, yeah. Honker stew. 2 tins of stewed steak, 1 glass tin of potatoes, 1 tin of geese, 2 of carrots.
Yeah, a Mars bar. You might wonder, what the devil are you chopping up a Mars bar and sticking it in a beef stew for? Well, all this bouncing around for up to 15 and a half hours,
Oh, wow, yeah.
even if you're strapped in, takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And toffee in a Mars bar, sugar,
Oh, wow.
energy. So we have 2 of those in 15 and a half hours, and 2 snack meals. In the summertime would be sandwiches up here, but in the winter time you want something hot. So we've got a grill here.
Oh, wow.
And meals I've had, baked beans on toast with grilled bacon, sausages.
Oh, wow.
Scrambled egg was very popular, on toast with bacon and sausages.
Oh, yummy.
Or a couple of boiled eggs with some toast, you know, that sort of snacky type meal.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, we could have...
Makes me hungry.
Well, that's our new aircraft, the Poseidon.
Oh, yeah, Poseidon.
Now, it's a Boeing 737.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we had 181 Shackletons all over the world.
Oh, wow.
And then we had 40 Nimrods. Well, you know, Nimrods can go faster and higher and all the rest of it and do a bigger job, so you don't need so many of them.
Yeah.
How many of these do you think we have then?
Quite a lot, 'cause I've seen the air shows like at Riyadh and...
Yeah, well, 9.
9. Oh, 9.
9, yes.
Oh, wow.
But what we do have now is drones.
Oh, wow.
Drones can go out, they can carry sonobuoys and torpedoes.
Oh, wow.
They can go out and hover for 36 hours, you know, that sort of time. And so these aircraft spend more time on the ground. They would only... those drones if they got a contact on a Russian submarine, these days it's nuclear, of course. All that information is data linked back to base, and then at some stage or other, we either send out another drone, because that drone after 30 odd hours is going to run out of fuel. Then we can bring it back home, so they'd send another one out. But at some stage, if it's wartime, they'd send one of these out to kill it. Okay. But they can, latest development with they're American drones, of course. The more modern ones, just recently, they carry torpedoes as well.
Wow.
And so they can drop those and make an attack. So you don't actually have to send an aircraft out at all. Yeah. All right, this is our dining room for 12 hungry men. It looks a bit small, doesn't it?
How come ladies didn't they do that kind of thing?
Sorry, but
how come ladies didn't want to work on it? Or
we don't have ladies in here.
Oh yeah.
No ladies.
No ladies.
No. In the Nimrod we had women pilots, navigators, but not in this aircraft. Anyway, the rear crew eat where we work, alright?
Oh, wow.
So, although this looks like we've got 12 hungry men to feed in this tiny little space, the only people who can't eat where they work, the pilots got their flying controls in the way, so one pilot's flying it, the other pilot's having his meal. When he's finished, go down the back for a quick pee, grab a cup of tea, up front, the other pilot can come down and have his meal.
Oh, wow.
Alright, let's go through here.
Do the pilots eat something else, like on regular planes?
Now, these are the wing spars.
That's the wing
We've got
stars.
to climb over.
Oh, wow. Oops, gotta be careful to get over those. Oop. Oop, I'll put the camera there for a second. That's better. You like getting over, Jake?
So that's our radar there.
That's the radio.
And this is that funny aerial I showed you up the top. This picks up other people's radars, and it gets a bearing line here, and the size of the signal gives you a rough idea of how far away it is. Little tiny signals, long way away, big signal. It's very close, which is dangerous if it's a missile radar you're picking up, okay? You're just about to be shot down. But this guy can analyse the frequency and say, that's a Russian radar fitted to that kind of ship, and that enables us to identify ships without getting close enough to get shot down. At 500 feet, they can shoot us down out to 15 miles. We can identify ships, which we've got to do, maybe 5 to 10 miles. So it's very dangerous.
This warning live aircraft is alive, is it?
Yeah. Well, it would be when we run the engines.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Now, do you know what was before what's in my phone? All these tiny little electronic devices in here to make it work. What was before then?
Battery? Oh, no.
No? So they're electronic. All this lot here. Anyway, look, to speed up a bit. Valves.
Oh, valves, yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually a bit big. It came out of one of these. It's about that size and about that round. Now, we call them valves. Americans call them tubes, vacuum tube. Fair enough. And all this is late 1940s equipment here. And these two are tracking submarines underwater when I drop sonobuoys. Now, these sonobuoys are as tall as me. About that round. The reason they're so big is because they're full of these valves. This has to be red hot before it works. All right. So I remember the radios at home just after the war. They didn't have a cover on them because it might have sort of 10 or 12 of these valves to make it work. Okay, and these all have to be red hot before it will work. So you switch it on, go and make a cup of tea, come back 10 minutes later, and it's generating loads of heat, but BBC. Okay, they're working now, and all these equipments here, they take a while to switch on, if you see what I mean. Warm up. Just as they did in the old days with the early TVs too, had these. And once, I think I had a professional musician in here one day, and he said, did I realise that professional musicians still use valve equipment? Because the quality of music digital, he actually explained, say you amplify a radio signal from a valve, he said it'd be a nice smooth amplification from a signal down here, you turn up the volume, a nice smooth curve. He said, whereas digital equipment, you may not hear that, but it actually is in the sound. All right, so there's nothing wrong with the quality of this, and they're very robust. They're military ones. They're designed for all this bouncing around, and the odd time in bad weather when the pilots smash it into the ground, you know, and you say, "Whew, blimey." Well, we walked away from it, so it must be all right. You know, in bad weather that is, and these valves survive all that. They rarely failed, these equipment. Okay, so these guys here, when I drop sonobuoys in the water, which float, a big underwater microphone falls out the bottom. This cap comes off. Big underwater microphone like this sort of size. Sinks down on a long cable, 60 metres, and it starts turning round, listening for the submarine propeller noise, and there's a compass needle on the top of each microphone that's sending back to these two guys which direction their microphone is pointing right now, as it spins slowly round and round and round. And when they get contact, if this is a sonobuoy here and a sonobuoy here, there's under the table here, that's a glass table, underneath there are projectors that project up underneath a thin line of light like that, and when these guys send the bearing through the submarine, that's where the submarine is.
That's cool.
No computers, pencil.
That's really cool.
All right, and they can also measure the range if it's an active sonobuoy that pings, so we can plot the bearing like that, and then with a ruler measure the range, plot it there, that's where the submarine is. And then guide the aircraft to, well, after a series, as the submarine moves, these are following it, and my bearings have been changing, caused by these two here, and so I'm pressing fix, fix, fix. I know the submarine's going this way. You guide the aircraft towards it, bomb doors open, co-pilot opens the bomb doors, select a I control all the weapons, I select a torpedo, attacking, weapon now, and then goes the torpedo 300 yards ahead.
Wow.
Okay, great fun. Great fun unless you're on the receiving end. But I might add, I've never killed anybody because I haven't been to war, and when we practice against one of our friendly submarines, could be an American one or a French one or a British Canadian one, we don't drop real torpedoes, we drop a little practice bomb this sort of size, 300 yards ahead, goes off with a bang. The people in the submarine go, that was quite loud. If that had been a real torpedo, that would have probably have sunk us. So they fire off a green candle, which floats to the surface, and we see green smoke during the day and green flame at night. You've just sunk another submarine. Well, we haven't hurt anybody. Right? Similarly, ships don't actually fire at us. They have a signalling lamp, you know, Morse code, dots and dashes. They signal when we come within range out to 15 miles. B-A-N-G, bang.
Bang.
Just been shot down, okay? Then you're out of the exercise for 3 days. The exercise might be 3 weeks long, you see. And the submarine that we've just sunk, he's out of the exercise for 3 days. Okay? All right, let's move on up front then.
Yay. Oh, wow.
So this is the attack table. So you're sitting here with the weapon release in one hand, pencil in the other hand, okay, for plotting. And so we have a foot switch so we can talk to the rest of the crew.
Oops, just stuck out. Oh, wow.
Those are all the weapons that we control. Depth charges for submarines on the surface, torpedoes for submarines underwater. And what's that? What's that button with N on it then? What weapon's that? What goes off with a really big bang?
A bomb.
Beginning with N.
Nuclear?
A lot of people say, surely you don't mean, oh, this old aircraft? 1957. Well, actually, this is our nuclear weapon that we had in 1951. And the reason it's so big is because it's full of valves.
Oh, wow.
And so it's got to have a big, same as the sonobuoys here.
Oh, yeah.
There's a load of those valves in there, and they've got to work for an hour.
Oh, wow.
So it's a great big battery as well. That's why they're this sort of, a Nimrod modern technology sonobuoy would be about that sort of size. But they're electronics like my phone, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, that's a 1951 version of a nuclear weapon, and we have two of them, one up there and one down there, and so we're the only ones who can arm them up. But we have a two-man principle. See that selector switch there?
Yeah.
Well, the pilot has a switch called the bomb release safety lock. So we could arm a weapon up, we could select it. If we then press the button there, nothing would work because the pilot's selector switch is still at safe.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm the first navigator. I and the first pilot have to agree that we've got permission come through on the radio here, all Morse code of course. Yeah, everything's Morse code. But the thing about Morse code compared with voice radio, you can always get through stormy weather.
Oh, yeah.
You might have to repeat the message over and over again, but you will always get through with Morse code, whereas voice gets interrupted so much by storms, you can't understand what people are saying. But Morse code always gets through. All right? Anyway, yeah, so we got a message come through that said NATO has authorised the use of tactical nuclear weapons. All right, so I know that. The first pilot knows that. So I read out the checklist. I tell my second nav, shall we say, he's sitting there doing as he's told. I tell him, right, arm up number one weapon up the top there. See the arm selector. Select number one weapon. And then the last check I say is first pilot, bomb release, safety lock, live. And he might go, I'll just have a quick look. Okay, yeah, we have got more reason. Right, live. So now they've got nuclear releases as well, but they don't do anything until the navigator here is actually controlling the attack. But he runs out and he says, attacking weapon now. Pressing the foot switch down there so the pilots can hear him. And when they hear him say now, they press their buttons. So it's belt and braces sort of thing, you know, make sure it goes. But they don't press until they hear him say now. Okay. All right, this is the navigation table. By the way, I haven't mentioned it. This is the main nav kit. All cogs and gears, of course, here. This calculates the movement of the aircraft as it's flying and sends them to these two projectors. They've got a glass plate underneath, and they project down onto the two tables a light arrow, about that size, little arrowhead, little bar like that. That's where the aircraft is. Cool. So that's how, if the radar passes the bearing and range of the submarine as it went underwater, we plot it on here. From the aircraft might be here, you see. Just plot it with a protractor and a ruler where the submarine went underwater, guide the aircraft towards it, bomb doors open, select the bottom switches there, the 20 sonobuoys that I've got in the bomb bay underneath our feet, select some sonobuoys and drop them in the water where the submarine went underwater, and then just orbit the aircraft until we got an attack solution, then guided on. And this, of course, I was based here near Newquay in Cornwall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's Newquay. Plymouth is down here somewhere.
Yes, I did there.
Yeah, so that's Ireland.
Yeah,
Wales. Anyway, if you came in, there's the arrow left by the previous crew. So you grab these little knobs here and you move it to where you're going to take off from. As you take off, this calculates the aircraft movement. By the way, that one is switched off until we get a submarine. Right? This calculates the aircraft movement, sends it here, and you see chug, 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 chug. We don't go very fast all the way, but we go for a long time, 15 and a half hours, okay, wherever we're going. Do you know what this is?
Is it a periscope?
No,
I don't.
Sextant.
Sextant.
So just think of sailing ships for hundreds of years used not a sextant, not like this because it's an electrical one, but an old-fashioned one. But
I thought it was a periscope.
The same procedures as sailing ships have used for hundreds of years.
Oh wow!
to go around the world, all right? And back in the 50s and 60s, there weren't many, in certain places like the Indian Ocean going over Africa, not many electronic navigation aids.
Oh, wow.
And so we used Astro to, at night time, shoot the stars and all the rest of it. The sun, we didn't like using the sun, but in the daytime, if you just got the sun, that's it, you know. But the sun's so big, it doesn't make a very accurate fix. But at night time, you can get a fix about 3 miles accurate. But you can find places with 3 miles accuracy. Anyway, if you want to go in, we do run the engines, so don't touch any of these switches here. You can hold on to the flying controls, but don't touch the switches on the panel there.
Oh, yeah, I won't touch anything.
Anyway, you can climb in there and...
Oh, wow.
Now,
Are we allowed to sit on the chair?
how to get in here. You grab hold of that. Put
grab hold of there.
your right foot there.
Put one foot there.
Right foot on there. And hoik your left leg up and out and round.
Left foot over and round. Oops.
Yeah. And the opposite.
Oh, I got stuck.
Grab hold of that. Left foot up there.
Oh, yeah.
Right foot.
Oh, wow. Yay.
This is 1957.
Yeah.
You know, the technology. Tell you what, look. I put a wooden block in there to... Can you get in there all right? Yeah, okay.
Oh, wow, this is cool.
Yeah, we had a lot of engine problems, but, you know, mostly it worked all right. It's what we had. We get quite a few airline pilots come from Gatwick. I had some young ones, European qualified pilots. They joined
oh, wow, he's
they're
so
young
new.
blokes, sort of the mid-20s, something like that. And they joined, what's the
No, James, I'll try to get it.
the airline, EasyJet. They joined EasyJet. They're training on a modern digital. They come here and they go, blimey. They can't imagine, and this is flown by muscle power, of course.
It's amazing.
They're talking about a joystick.
Yeah.
But this is what we had. Now, you've got 2 things here.
Oh, 2 things.
You've only got 1. That's because you're only the co-pilot, you see.
Oh, wow.
You're senior.
I'll see you. Yeah, the
This
captain.
is nose wheel steering, because the runway's over there somewhere.
Oh, wow.
So the engineer starts the engines up, not the pilots, okay, the engineer. When you're ready, you press this button, and then it's just like driving your car.
Oh, wow.
Because it activates the hydraulic system down to the nose wheel down there,
wow.
which is steerable. Okay, so round the corner you go, off you go over there on the runway.
And then tickle.
When you're lined up on the runway, let go of that button. If it's your turn to take off, you do the engines. The pilots take it in turns to take off and land.
Oh, wow.
Right? If
I get retired, I get quite worried.
if it's your turn to take off or land, you do the engines. Don't move those, will you, the engine. They're a very sensitive position when you want to start the engines up.
Can you take a picture of that, Steve?
So, you know,
If you can.
yeah, okay. Lean in a bit so I can see you.
Yeah.
You're smiling. Click. And another one. Click. There you
Oh,
go.
thank you very much. Oh, like,
Down there we should have a leather mattress, and that blue glass down there, it's a low-level bomb site. It's really accurate bomb site. And that's what we use at night time for attacking submarines on the surface. And of course, the guy up in the nose there, he would have a pair of 20mm cannons. There's a big ammunition box here and here, and they feed armour-piercing ammunition into a gun each side of his seat. So it's really noisy when you're firing the guns, because big 20 mils firing in right next to each side of you. I imagine you do this as well. And by the way, there's lots of smoke comes out of ammunition once you fire it.
oh, wow.
But we don't. It's not vented out the side. It's slowly this horrible smelling brown smoke.
Oh, dear.
Slowly drifts down here. We open the windows at the back. So you two will be breathing this smoke. Past the new navigators, we're breathing all that. It goes right through the aircraft.
Oh, wow.
Health and safety wouldn't allow that these days.
Yeah.
But we didn't have health and safety in those days. Oh, I see we've got a family turning up. Derek will take those round. But we must finish shortly.
Oh, yeah, we will, yeah.
So we've done our bit here.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's Left the Navigator. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, we're not called navigators anymore. From 1951 onwards, the navigators, well, we navigated, of course, but we also controlled all the weapons and did the submarine attacks. So only recently they've called us Weapons Systems Officers, or WISOs for short.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're called WISOs. WSO. Okay. Yeah, they're the rudders, and the round discs are the brakes, hydraulic brakes. Okay. So when you're turning, these are locked, of course, but and then if you're turning right, a big boot for the rudder. It's all flown by muscle power. So it's sensible. We don't have
no misty window now, isn't it? Or is that just weathering?
Well, these are the windows I mentioned when we open those big ones in hot regions. And the pilots open these little windows here just to get some air coming through as well.
That's good.
And we can also open the sextant, goes up in the roof there. We can open that as well, and so you get some air going through because it gets seriously hot. And this is the worst position. You imagine in the sunshine and the nose look out there.
Yeah.
It's roasting in here. It's like being in a greenhouse or or a conservatory, you know, with a glass roof. It's hot as hell for the pilots. We do have fans in the nose here, which can blow air through here as well. And we have petrol heaters for winter time that the engineer lights up. Then the fans blow the hot air all through the cabin here. Anyway, I hear we've got visitors down the back, so we better hop out, fellas.
Now I've got to try and get out. I thought I did for a second. Oh yeah, I got to press that.
They're on instruments now.
Sorry?
They're on instruments.
I'll tell you what, look, let me... hang on a minute.
I'm going to try and get out some here.
Let me take this out. Right, you can push that forward now.
Oh wow. Oh, I could get like that. Oh wow. Oh. If you do that wrong, you'll fall at your bottom. Wow, that was a good pull. There we go. Oops. That's it, yeah.